everyone, it's Dawn. Welcome back. And today we're going to be painting 3 different sky washes. All very easy, I promise. I'm doing it. It's got to be easy. So I'm only going to be using 3 colours. I'm not going to be using green. You'll see I've got green on my palette. I'm not using green in the sky. We're not painting a Martian sky. But what I am going to do is just add a little bit of a setting. But you'll see how that works as we go along. So I have got cobalt blue, ultramarine and sap green. And we're going to start with the simplest sky you can possibly do. This couldn't be easier if you tried. So just one brush and one colour. And I'm just going to pick up a fairly hefty dollop of ultramarine. And that seems to have some green in it for some strange reason. So let's wash the brush out and start again. So actually it's not too bad. So a nice light puddly dollop of ultramarine. Oh, that might be a bit too strong, but that's all right. We can always water it down. So a nice puddle of ultramarine like that. So I'll just pop that down there for a minute, and we're just going to go straight on, and we're going to take it to down to about there, and then I'm going to show you how we just very quickly put a setting in it. So before it has a chance to dry, oh, that might be a bit too strong, but that's all right. If it's too strong, just dip your brush in some water and paint it out. So I'm still going into the same puddle that I made. I haven't made up any more, but I'm just going to keep on adding water, and we're going to paint about 3/4 of the way down, maybe a little bit more than that. So we're just going to go straight down the page. We're not going to add any clouds, not yet. We'll be adding clouds in a different one, but to begin with, we're just going to go straight down the page without any embellishments at all. So we'll just keep going, all from the same puddle of paint. So just pick up a little bit more, and we're going to go down to there. So that's just one, well, it would have been one brushful, but it decided to be awkward. But usually you can do this in one brushful, but I don't think I quite picked up enough. But there we go. One just plain colour with no embellishments at all. And so what we're going to do, I am going to wash the brush out. I'm going to pick up a little bit more. Actually, I'll bring my palette over. I've just washed my brush, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit more cobalt blue, like that. And into it, without washing my brush out, I'm going to pick up just a touch of sap green. Or maybe a bit bigger touch. A little bit, because I want this to be more blue than green. So maybe just one little touch more, that'll do. So just mix it in. You don't have to be too precise for this. And all we're going to do is we're going to paint, while it's all still wet, we're going to paint in some distant hills. Now that might need to be a bit greener actually. Yeah, I think we're going to need to put a little bit more green in then, that's okay. So just pick up some more green and a little more water, I think. So yeah, that's a bit better. A bit more green. So a nice pale greeny blue. And the blue is still wet on the paper, so it'll attack it and make it go bluer anyway. So that's better. But we want this to be distant. We don't want it to show too much. But we want this to be nice and pale and nice and distant. So there we go. And now we're going to pick up a stronger green. So we're just going to pick up a bit more green, just green. Much stronger, because we're going to do a nice, just to finish this little bit off. We're not going to do anything fancy. All we're going to do here is finish it off and paint some grass in the foreground, just some flat grass, no detail, no bushy bits, no trees, no flowers, just some plain grass, just to finish it off. And that is called a flat, well, at least I call it a flat sky wash. The easiest sky you can possibly do. So we're going to put that one to one side. I'm going to grab another piece. And this time, if I can find another piece of paper, there we go. We're going to find another piece of paper. And we're going to do this time, we're going to do what is called a gradated wash. Or some people call it a graduated wash. But it's your painting, you can call it what you like. But I was brought up to call it a gradated wash. So what we're going to do first, again, we're only going to use cobalt blue. But first, we are going to wet the paper. Before we put any paint on, we're going to wet the paper. So make sure this needs to be quite wet. So we're going to wet the paper from the top all the way down. I know I've started at the bottom and worked up, but that's all right. Your painting, you can start where you like. So we're going to make it good and wet. This is a nice strong paper. It's a 350 GSM, so it'll take any battering that you give it. So while it's still good and wet, we're only going to use cobalt blue, still only one colour at this stage. And we're going to pick up a slightly stronger mix this time because it's going into wet. It's going onto wet paper, so it's going to be paler when it dries. So a nice strong dollop of cobalt blue. Dollop, that's a technical term of course. And what we're going to do, we're going to put it in. It won't be that strong once we're finished. And what we do, one brushful, don't reload, just keep on coming down in one brushful. And it will get weaker as it gets to the bottom. So we're just going to go one brushful, and that is called a gradated wash. And again, we're just going to pick up a little bit of green. We're not going to be too worried about it, just to finish it off really. And we're just going to put a bit of greeny blue wash just at the front to finish it off, just to get rid of that horrible white paper. So there we go. Could be a bit wetter. So there we go. That's just to finish it off really. And that is called a gradated wash. And if you really want to, you can just pick up a stronger mix of green, just put more paint than water and that'll make it stronger. And again, we can paint some hills like that. And if you paint it wet into wet, that is wet paint into wet paper, it'll look nice and soft like that. And that is a gradated or graduated wash. Now we're going to try something. Well, it's not really more complicated. It's just taking this one step further. But that is still very wet. So I'm going to pop that over there. And we're going to do one more sky wash together. I'm only still using the same brush. I did get two brushes out, but I think we're only going to be needing one. So one brush, and this time we're going to be really bold and daring. We're going to use two different types of blue. So again, we're going to start off with cobalt blue, like that. And into that, because we need it to be stronger, we're going to mix just a little touch of ultramarine, maybe just a bigger touch than that. So just a touch at a time with our ultramarine because it's a strong colour. So that'll probably do. We can always adjust this one. We can adjust as we go along. I'm not going to pre-wet the paper this time. So we'll just put that there. And you need to have, before it dries, you need to have a tissue ready or a piece of kitchen. I've just got kitchen towel. Oh, that's fine. It'll dry lighter. Watercolour does dry lighter. So if you put it on and think, oh goodness, it looks like it's a painting in the middle of the night, it won't by the time it dries. And we're going to be putting some clouds into this anyway, so it'll appear lighter. Which is why I've done it this dark, so that you can see the clouds. So we're going to start with a flat wash, just like we did in the first painting, or in the first demonstration, in the first example. Just a flat wash. But this time, instead of one colour with our flat wash, we're going to put two colours on. Or two tones of blue anyway. So we'll go down to about there. So while it's still wet, I'm just going to pop that in there. While it's still wet, we're going to take our tissue, or kitchen towel, and we're just going to dab clouds. So just touch like that. Don't scrub. Just dab. And you'll get some nice natural looking clouds. And if you dab it, just keep on turning the tissue. You'll get the sky between the clouds. Now don't go mad, she says, because otherwise you'll end up taking out all the clouds and you won't have any sky left. And just for the smaller clouds at the bottom, just wrap it round your finger and just do some little clouds further down. So you can do a little swirl if you want to. So just nice little clouds like that. As we go to the bottom, clouds of course look smaller as we get to the bottom of our sky. And if you think, well, that could do with a bit of sorting out really, this time we will. I'll pick up my round brush this time. If you think that needs a bit of sorting out, as I do, just take some clear water and just go round over your areas in a circular motion like that. Don't put any paint on, no more paint, just clear water and go round in circular motions. All you're doing is you're rounding off your clouds. You're not washing them out. you're just redistributing the paint so that it looks a little bit more natural. So, and because it's such a beautiful sunny day and quite warm, it's drying quite quickly, so I'm having to re-wet my paper. So there is our nice white fluffy cloudy sky, which I rather like that. And you know, the good thing about doing it this way is you never really know how it's going to turn out. You could do this 100 ways and your sky will look different every time. So you can really have some fun with this. So I'm not going to take it any further. That's a few more clouds than I intended to put in, but never mind. It's good fun. And again, what I'm going to do, now this will be dry by the time I've finished messing about with this bit, so that our distant hills will be stronger, but I'm going to show you a fun way to put them in really quickly. So again, I'm just going to take some sap green. I'm just going to move my palette out of the way for a minute. So we're going to pop that on there like that. I'll just take a bit more sap green because I want that to be a bit stronger at the front there. So we'll just come down there, make that good and reasonably strong. It doesn't have to be too strong, but just a bit of foreground, give it a setting. Now if you want some distant trees really quickly at the back, you will need a round brush for this. So you need a trick. I'm going to show you a trick. Have some strongish, oops, not that strong. Well, I would suggest having, well, I'm going to use sap green, but if you want to use a mix of sap green and a little bit of cobalt blue just to make it cooler, you can. But have it not too thick, quite puddly, so it looks like that. But then what you need to do, have that already made up first, because it will make life a lot easier, trust me. And then what we're going to do, we're going to, where you want your line of trees, we're just going to wash our brush out a bit better than that. And we're going to just wet, we're going to wet the sky like that. So if you want a nice muted distant bank of trees there, wash it like that, then go straight in with your brush into the nice puddle of green that you've just mixed up. You're going to enjoy this is fun, but you have to be fairly quick because you can't let this dry. Touch it on, and actually I think we need a bit of a stronger green. Oh yeah, that was a surprise. This sap green, it might be Cotman's, which is technically a student grey, but it's a strong colour. So we need a bit more. So while it's still wet, if you do it while it's still wet, it will soften in and you'll get that lovely soft bushy clouds, but you'll get them really quickly because the water is still wet underneath, or the paper is still wet underneath. You'll get a really thick and quick bushy cloud, so you can take them up. So there, that was just an extra really, but this painting's really about those lovely clouds. And if you're still not happy with the clouds, you can just re-wet and you can adjust this to your heart's content. You could even, if you think, oh golly, I don't like those, you could even take your flat brush. This is just messing about really, this is just playing. And just do a clean water, well, cleanish water, wash over them just to blend them a bit better, but try not to go into the green. So there you go. I think that'll do for now. That's enough playing. So there we have our 3 different sky washes. You've got, and you can, even once you get to this stage, if you think, oh bother, I've taken too much out, you can still just put a few fluffy clouds back in. Just like that. As long as it's still wet, you can get away with anything. So there you go. I'm not going to put any more in, I'm going to leave that like that. So there we have our 3 basic washes, or 3 washes. You've got, in reverse order as they say, you've got the clouds with our very mucky tissue paper now, or kitchen roll. We have our gradated wash, and of course we have our basic sky wash. So I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful, and I hope it's given you a few more ideas on how to paint some different skies. And I'll be back on Monday now with a different tutorial for you, and if I can remember what it was, I'll tell you. But I think it's painting rocks, but I'm not 100% sure. So anyway, whatever we're doing, I shall see you Monday. So enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you Monday. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Please do take care and stay safe. And remember to subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying these videos and you haven't already. And I'll see you Monday. And in the meantime, thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.